Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on MotoGP 25, and today a slightly different one. My first track guide on this game. I plan to do all 22 tracks, hopefully in order. As you can see today we're starting off with the Chang International Circuit, and yeah, it'll just be a setup and track guide to help people around this track, all setups in general, and you can take a look at what you like. But yeah, we'll start off today with Chang, and the first clip that you'll see is my hot lap if you didn't see it from my last video. So we'll start off with that, and then there'll be other details afterwards. So we'll get into the hot lap now with no voice, and let's go. Right then, let's get into an analysis of the lap now. You would have seen before this, I got a bit of a wheelie start to my lap, so that would have definitely compromised me a little bit, but you can't see it here. I'll show you my thoughts and what my thought processes are on this lap, and I'll try and talk you through some of my braking zones and some of the gearing and all of that sort of thing to help you understand what I'm doing. So I'll show you turn one first, and then I'll go back. So here we are, going down the straight, braking half of turn one, swooping onto the curb and cutting it tight. Nicely done. Got a bit of wheelie on the exit, that would have cost me half a tenth. Now if I go back, you'll see what I do here. So yeah, it's a bit of annoying that I got a bit of a wheelie on the exit there, because that definitely slowed me down a bit. But you'll see here, now what I use my braking point, you'll see these green sponsor signs on the left here, these PT sponsors. Now I use those green sponsors on the left here for my braking point, and I brake. If you see, I'll try and pause it when I brake. So I brake about here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10. I'm braking around 10 of these PT sponsor boards before, so I'll play it back in a second and you can watch. But these green boards on the left here, that's when I braked about 10 before into the corner. That's my braking marker. So I'll play it back now. You'll see I'm braking just before it. For me, I like using this as a braking marker, as I can see quite visibly before I get into the corner. Now, going into turn 2, so it's a slight kink, and then turn 3. So I'll let you watch this through. Again, hard on the brakes, stopping it quite nicely, hitting the apex well, and then powering out of turn 3. Nicely done. Now, let's play it back. You'll see these faint white lines on the left here. They're literally just beside the bike on the edge of the track. There's a white line. Now I brake at the third one. You'll see there's 3. So there's one there, another one here, and then another one here. So I brake on the third line. You can brake maybe touch after it, but I recommend to be safe at first. You can use it as your marker to brake on the line. Now watch it again. Watch for the white lines on the left. So there's 1, 2, and 3. That's where I brake. So they're a bit harder to see than last game. Last game they were more visible, these lines, but that's what I have to do is to brake. Now, out of turn 3. Now heading down another back straight into turn 4. Get hard on the brakes. Tipping nicely. And on the outside curb. Now I'll come back to this in a minute. that's quite important. But you'll see here, these white Honda boards on the right, there's 2 of them. And I brake in line with this last one here. There's also a white line here, but using the big white board of the Honda board is much more visible, much more clearer. So that's what I use, and I brake literally in line with it. And ran a little bit wide here on this lap, but it wasn't too bad. So I'll let you watch it back. Brake in line with the second white Honda board. You can see a little bit wide, but then here I'm on the outside curve, and it's actually it stopped the spin, which is quite interesting. If you go on these curbs here, you'll notice I got a little bit of spin out the corner, but it actually prevented it from going on these outside curbs. And then nicely done. I will let you watch it again. And help me tip in there quite nicely for turn 5 and get it around. Now my braking point for turn 5, if you was wondering, you'll see there's another one of these white lines here on the right hand side. So there's only one, and it is just this one here. So you'll see it once you go past it a few times. I brake in line with that white line, and for me that's the perfect point for turn 5. So I'll let you watch it back now. So you want to look out for that white line on the right just beside the track. Perfectly in line with it. Tipping nicely. Nicely done. Now you just want to hold through second gear here. You want to go as tight as you can. So I've hit that apex quite nicely, but I ran a little bit too hot into here. I put on the brakes more than I would have liked. Keep constant corner speed important. I'll pull that back for you to watch again. But yeah, you want to be as tight as you can through here. Close to that curb. I've done that really well. And you need nice and light on the throttle. Power out into turn 8, and again I've hit the apex there really nicely, and that's going to help me gain lots of time. We'll pull that back for the braking point, and I brake just under this red board above. You'll see these red bar above, or again there's white. There's a lot of things you can use here. You got the red thing above, you got the shadow on the track, or you got the white line to the left. Personally, I use the red thing above or the shadow on the ground. I think they're the easiest to see. And yeah, again, just brake in line with these, you'll see. Maybe even a bit before. Let's see again. Yeah, or even just like a little bit before. And I've hit the apex quite nicely there. Now into turn 9. You don't need to brake too hard. I don't really have a specific marker here. You'll see. There's nothing that I really use. Apart from my gearing, I guess. I go up to 3rd gear here. If I can get it in first person, this will be better. You'll see, the moment I click up to 3rd, it's basically I brake probably half a second after I click up the 3rd gear. So if you decide to use my gearing, when you click up to 30, you want to probably brake about half a second after you've gone up into 3rd. And then tip in. I'll let you watch it back in this normal version again. So up to 3rd and then brake. So I'm just using my gearing as a reference where to brake. So there's no specific marker. You power it out, and then you want to get as tight to the curb as possible there. Power it out, get on the inside curb, onto the outside curb. That's helped me slow me down a little bit after going through these fast corners. So we'll watch again. Tight on the apex out of turn 9, and then we're getting tight to the inside on turn 10, hugging it left, then cutting over the inside curb off turn 11. Nicely done. And hard braking into the final corner. And we've done that quite nicely. And you power it, and that's up to the line. We'll go back again for the braking point for the final corner. Now, there's a few things you can use here. If I stop it here, you'll see. So you've got white lines on the left. You can brake in between this one and then this one. Maybe just before this one, but I don't use that. Go back again, so that's option number 1. You've then got the white Brembo board in front that you can see on the left. You can decide to brake, you use that as a reference, but I think that's too far away. But the 3rd option, which is the one I use, I brake in line with this orange. If you look at the tyre wall on the left, there's an orange board, and I brake in line with that into the final corner. So I'll play that back. Look at the orange board on the left, brake in line with it. For me, that's a perfect braking marker. And then you tip in, get the power on, up to the line, and that is a lap of Chang with all the braking markers and all the references. So yeah, that should be quite helpful, and you can see some of my gearing in this as well, and my braking markers, and what helps me to go fast around the track, and what I use to be more consistent every lap because it's very important to have clear braking markers. So yeah, hopefully that was a good help. So now I thought I'd show you the telemetry, which is quite interesting in the pit lane. And I'll run through it. Unfortunately, I can't play it through in real time, so I'll have to show you slowly. But let's have a look here. So as we start a lap going down the home straight, go up to only fifth gear. You can see the line at the bottom in the fifth column. Only up to fifth gear, and we're braking. It looks like fairly early on the map, but that is the braking point. But yeah, we're downshifting quite quickly. And I'm still looking at the gears here. See, I go down to gear 1 for a split second, not even at the apex, just slightly before the apex. I'm up to gear 2 as I'm on the apex, really. And I go down to gear 1 to, just to get the bike stopped a bit better. Helps to turn the bike down, but I'm straight up to gear 2 again. And as you can see, the front brake and rear brake inputs are both very high, hard on the brakes into the first corner. And hard on the throttle, and yeah, we just go down the back straight after. It was a not great sector 1. Again, we probably could have extracted another tenth, but so you can't see this on his telemetry. And look, we're downshifting very fast from 6th to 4th. We're in 3rd for a little bit, and we're in 2nd for a little bit. And right when we hit that minimal speed of the corner, we're down to 1st gear. Again, really, really hard on the brakes. And we power out, slowly going up the gears with our short gearing, with good acceleration. And in this here, we got up to 6th gear again. And again, we want to drop it down to 3rd gear here when you're at the minimal speed at turn 4. Then you go up to 4th, and you head into turn number 5. And you see, I'm in 3rd gear there for probably 0.1 of a second. It's a really rapid downshift here, straight down to 2nd gear, and then I'm into 1st again at the minimum speed of the corner. I don't accelerate in 1st very often, apart from the final corner. You'll see that when I get to it. But yeah, and then we're going to hold it in 2nd. You can see on the, I'm just keeping looking at the gearing here. It's so important, but I'm in 2nd gear for such a long time here. And you hold it through 2nd the whole time, and then when you exit out of turn 7, I believe this is, and you want to go up to 3rd, and you'll click up to 4th momentarily before you drop back down to 3rd, and then 2nd again very quickly, going through turn 8, and then up to 3rd for a split second. You can stay in 2nd, depending on your gearing. I mean, I have a short gearing, so if you make your gearing a bit longer, then you can definitely stay in 2nd, but I'm in 3rd here for what, maybe a half a second, maybe slightly less than that, so not long at all, but just so I don't rev it out, and then straight down to 2nd, and then at the minimum speed of the corner again, down to gear 1. And then we're holding it through gear 2, going through turns 9, going out of 9 into 10, just keeping a constant speed, and we go up to 3rd, as you see on our lap before. We hit the inside curb on the right, and then hit it on the left on the exit of the corner. Hold it in 4th, up to 5th, no 6th gear here, and hold on the brakes, quick shifting, quick downshifting into 4th, then 3rd, then into 2nd, and we hit down to 1st here, and this is probably the most I'm on 1st gear on the whole track, as you can see. I'm in 1st for a bit longer here, and I'll go out of 1st gear on the exit of the corner still, but I'm definitely not in it for long, but just a little bit longer than the other corners because it's a slightly more slower corner, a bit more of a hairpin style corner where you can. So, but yeah, still not in gear 1 for very long. Again, probably a second maximum, and then up to 2nd gear, and we click into 3rd gear just before we go across the line. So yeah, that is a lap of a 26.152 with the telemetry there, which is quite interesting. So if you want to pause it here, take a screenshot to have a look, then I'll give you the chance to do so now. Right, now let's get into the setup. So, firstly, we'll look at the tyres. So yeah, use a soft front. That will definitely be the best option. And unfortunately, there's no soft rear here. So you're stuck with the medium rear, which means there's going to be less grip. So if you do experience some wheel spin around here, that would be why, as there is no soft rear, which helps a lot with the grip. Anyway, into the actual setup, we'll look at the front suspension. 2 on the front preload, 1 on the oil quantity, 4 on front spring hardness, 4 on front fork compression, and 1 on front fork extension. This is a front suspension I've used a lot so far this game, since I started trying the setup, so yeah, I recommend this, as I think it's very good. Front brake, using the biggest one. I'm always a fan of the big brakes, so whenever you watch me, this will be the case. You'll often see me running these bigger brakes. So yeah, the front suspension, I recommend using this a lot. This is just use it. I've been using that pretty much everywhere, so this probably won't change. ECU traction 1 for me is the best. It's going to be the quickest, but obviously the hardest to try and manage. I always use anti-wheelie 1, but you can use 2 if you struggle with the wheelie sometimes. Then yeah, you can use anti-wheelie 2, but I'm using 1. EBS 2, again, it's like the last game. Last game it's either used EBS 3 or 4. And then this game I'd say either use EBS 2 or 3, but I'm using a lower one and I prefer EBS 2. And then power 3, this game the other power mappings are pretty much useless, so stick to power 3. Transmission, I use 4 on gear 1, keep it nice and balanced. Again, like you saw in my lap, I'm in gear 1 for a very small amount of time, so yeah, I should probably even make it like longer. But yeah, keep it on 4, keep it more balanced. Then I like more acceleration in second and third gear, so I've got them both on 6 because it helps me a lot with the acceleration out of these long corners, especially around this track. It's important that you get good drive out of corners. Then 4th and 5th gear both on 5, just again slowly putting the number down so I can build up a bit more speed. And then my 6th gear is on 4, so I can reach that top end at the end of the straights nicely. Final ratio on 4 as well, that does the job. If you feel like you can get more acceleration, if you feel like you want a bit more, then you can put it up to 5. If you don't want as much, you can put it down to 3. You can alter this between 3 and 5. Anything works, but I've got it on 4. Nice and balanced approach. And then slipper clutch, on 6. I always like using a really high slipper, so that's always going to be the same for me. Always at around 6. That is usually my favourite. Now the geometry. Interesting one this. Using 1441. If you're struggling with this, something I change is I'll put the trail up to 7. Give the bike more stability if that's where you're struggling. But yeah, either keep like this or put the trail to 7 and do 1741. That's what I'd recommend there. Then the rear suspension, I've got 14774. Again, I'm not really the best at explaining setups, but for me this has felt good, and this is what I've been using, so it should be pretty good for you, I hope. And then the rear brake, the biggest one, I've never really experienced or used this rear brake, the small one, so yeah, but I'm pretty sure the bigger one will be better. So yeah, that is the setup that I'm using, and you can see how we get on with this. So then, that was the setup and track guide. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it was a good help, something slightly different. And if you did like it, then I will continue to make the rest of these videos. So yeah, just let me know in the comments, and yeah, the next one should be at Argentina, I imagine in a week's time, something like that. But yeah, it will be out soon enough. But yeah, interesting style video today, and yeah, let's see if anyone can make any improvements. And yeah, Chang is one of my strongest tracks, but I'm still alright here. And then Termas and Kota are the next two, which are probably 2 of my weakest tracks in the whole game. But then after that, it should be all fine. So yeah, hopefully we can get these next 2 out the way, and after that, we'll be all good to go. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.